Hey Jim, how are you?
Hey Hugo, how's it going, buddy?
I'm pretty well. I'm really grateful that you're here with me today, and I really wanted to talk to you about the work that you do on a TV show. Would you be able to start with your name and what you do?
Sure thing, Hugo. My name is Jim Falkenstein, and I'm a property master. That's IATSE Local 44. I'm in the union. You don't have to be in the union, but I am.
That's how I know you. You're the one of the coolest prop masters to work with, and
Probably true. Good point.
I uh, I wanted to know what is it like specifically for you on a day one of a TV show when they hand you a script?
All right, so this average or jump to the first, like a sitcom. You're on a show.
Yeah.
The sitcom is every show. Sitcoms different than a feature, different than like a Netflix series. A single camera, spy thing. So every genre is a little different. For the
Right.
sitcom world,
Okay.
you make a show on a stage, right? So you get a script. Let's pretend it's a regular week. Scripts on Monday, shoot the show on Friday. So you have 5 days. So you get the script probably, Sunday afternoon, you're reading it, and then you got a big meeting Monday morning, and everybody's there,
Right.
and all the departments are there, and the wardrobe's there, and the writers are there, and the director's there, and Hugo's even there. It's crazy, and so you go page by page through the script. You're not reading the dialogue. That's for actors. Those prima donnas come in later. They're
Yeah,
probably
they
all still
do.
sleeping. And so you're going through the script and everyone's picking out. Now, before you get there, you've broken down the script, as you say. So you go through every scene and you figure
Yeah.
out what props you feel like are important here and questions, whether you go like, should she bring in, man, she's coming home. Should we be carrying a suitcase? Or they got a backpack? Or did they come grocery shopping? What question? So usually if it's unclear, there's room for you to suggest and to absorb. So that's a key
Yeah.
part of, I think, all departments really is come in with an idea, like say this is what I think it should be, and then be willing to have somebody tell you terrible idea, do my idea, and
Yeah.
so that's the give and take of the entire process. You bring your ideas to the group and you either sell them
Hmm.
or people go, that's great, and then you go, I'm the best, or somebody else goes, no, that's a terrible idea. I want this and this and this. And then you go, ugh, I'm the worst. So, and then move on to the next scene. So you just go through it and you negotiate with the wardrobe department. They go like, no, we want her wearing this. So you can't give her the backpack because it's going to go there. And she's not. And so you negotiate that, right? And then the hair and makeup person says, I don't want her wearing a hat because then it's going to mess up the hair. And what if this happens and she can't? And I go, well, I got to throw a pie at her later. And then they go, oh, it's going to get all over. Is it going to get on her shirt? And you go, of course it's going to get on her shirt. And they're like, oh, can you make a pie that doesn't get on the shirt? And you go, no, don't be an idiot. And then later on, somebody will go, all right, I'll figure out a way to make a pie that doesn't go on the shirt. So then you negotiate the back channels. And then the writer will stand up and go, and like, no, 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 no. When I wrote pie, what I meant was a fish. And you're like, that says pie. And they go, yeah, I meant fish though. So you're like, okay. So it's that and so that takes hour, hour and a
Right.
half. Show
Yeah.
takes 23 minutes to watch. And just the first meeting takes an hour, hour and a half, where everyone has their ideas. So that's your first day. And then afterward, everyone's got their marching orders, break. Off you go. Shopping away, making calls. You got to, and this is where uh, you've got to be you got to have a certain temperament, certain personality. You got to be pretty uh proactive. You have to be very proactive, but you also have to be super cooperative because you're trying to get people to do stuff for you. They're trying to get you to do stuff. You're trying to get information. So you're always trying to navigate all these different departments, and you're trying to and so it's always good to have like a team,
Yeah.
right? So you've got to have a good assistant team. So if you've got usually you have one or two people working for you, like directly every day. Now you got to work with your team and go, okay, here's the plan, guys. This, and this. What do you think of that? Can you just take care of that over there, and I don't have to deal with it? And they go, okay, yeah, I got that. And then they go, I don't know what to do here. I go, I'll take that. You do this, and then you have usually like now I'm the boss of the department,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
I go, okay, I got to step away from the stage, go do boss stuff, and then you've got your assistants right there, and they're right there with the actors every day, rehearsing with them. It's like a theater, more of a theater vibe, right?
Right.
Actors are trying to figure stuff out. you're a prop assistant, which is probably where you'll start, an assistant props. So okay, let me back that up a little bit. So
Okay.
if you're getting into the prop business, let's say you start off first, and you're not in the union yet, so you're on another show. So you're on a different show, and so you come in, you say we need an extra prop person. You go like, oh well, I want to do props. I'll
Yeah.
do that. And they go, okay, great, you're gonna be great. Okay, so your first job usually like they send you on errands, shop for this, go to the buy mart, go to the yeah, go to the 99-cent store, buy 1,000 jelly beans, and then come back here, and then they go, okay, now take all those jelly beans and fill jars full of jelly beans for that scene. And so you're just told all these little tasks to do, and as
Sure.
long as you have good attitude, don't get roll your eyes, don't go off and take a 3 hour lunch, don't show up late, don't uh, have done some research, figure out what the show's about,
Right.
and know kind of what the rules are, and then you start picking up little tricks like, oh, no one likes the smell of onions. That was that was a Jim Belushi thing. I hate the smell of onions. Smell of onions, are fired. It's like, yeah, he was a I do this or you're fired guy. So you learn tricks as you go, and you've got to remember them, keep them. And another very important thing when you're coming up in props,
Okay.
there's a lot of different types of shows to be on. Some are like bar shows, right? Some are lawyer shows, some are cop shows, some are kids shows. And you're going to come across a situation where you're working on a law show about a law firm and you don't know anything about law or the office. And so you can't just say, I just don't understand law, so you just tell me what you want. You have to research. You have to be curious enough to go, okay, I don't know this. I'm going to figure it out, at least basically, right? If
Right.
you lack curiosity, and a lot of people get in a niche and they're like, I only do space shows. That's all I do. Well, that's fine. You're going to do space shows your whole life, and then you're going to be limited. But if
Yeah.
you want a broad, career of doing different stuff, then you try to learn. You're like, if you got on Shogun and they go, well, what do you know about 10th century Japan? You go, nothing, of course. And they go, well, read these books or, watch these clips or da da da. And if you're a curious enough person, you can learn that stuff. And then all of a sudden you've got a wider variety of things, and if you want do props, you should be the type of person that's curious about a variety of different things and how the minutia works, and wondering about what a character wants versus
Yeah.
and wondering what the writer wants and wondering what the director wants, and then having your own idea, and you try to meld those around. All right, so back to day one. So I'm out shopping. The actors are rehearsing. I come back in. I've made calls to Hugo and said, I need these graphics tomorrow. And then you
True
call
story.
a food stylist because I got you food for trials. You call the food stylist. Goes, we're gonna have a big remember that pie I ordered? It's now a fish. Yeah, you're gonna eat a bunch of fish that get thrown in the face. And so you've done all these calls. You come back to stage at the end of the day, and you go like, "Whoo, man! Team, high fives! We did it!" And then the team comes back and goes like, "All right, here's what the actor wants." And then they give you this new list, and you're like, "What?" And they go, "It's the star of the show, you know." As
Right.
they worked on George Lopez, go, "That's George. He said he wants to be what did he wanted like wanted sherbet or something one day." I'm like, "Why? What is he going sherbet for?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's what he wants to eat in this." I'm like, "Okay." So then you go like, "Okay, I got a plan for tomorrow," and then the new script comes out because they rewrite it.
Yeah.
And then it comes out, and you're like going like, oh, everything I did yesterday was a waste of time. It's all new. So you've got to reboot. And that's another temperament of doing props. Props, I think almost props is the most affected daily by changes. Usually it's small stuff like props that changes every day. Once they build a set, they try not to build a different set the next day. Sometimes they do, but they try not to, right? And
Sure.
the cameras are going to be what they are, and the wardrobe can change a little bit, but basically the concept is the same. So every day you have to be the type of person that doesn't take it personally, that you spent 18 hours and the night before putting jelly beans in jars and rigging things on them and putting labels on them and tying them all up and fixing everything. And so the next day it's going to be perfect. And they go, no more jars with jelly beans. And you're like, you can't go like, but I worked really hard on it. And you're like, yeah, we don't care.
Yeah,
So,
good for you.
and so you've got to be cool with that. And that's a
Yeah.
temperament thing. That's a personality, I would say. And you'll see if you watch the rest of this fine series, whatever Hugo's cooking up here, that that every department, really, the people in that department kind of always have this personality. You could call it a stereotype even, and you wouldn't be wrong. Because I think Hugo will agree that even if you go to a wardrobe department on show here, or a different show here, or a different show here, or a different show here, there's similar types of humans, I would say. Would you agree with that, Hugo?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be able to collaborate with, for example, the art department, set dressing, props, and wardrobe. And for me, the way I'll do it is definitely by urgency and also whatever I think I can knock out the quickest because, like you said, we want them to have eyes on what we're contributing as quick as possible, just so that we have enough time if they change their mind, which is something that is a constant. It never changes from episode to episode. But I think that's also part of the fun for me too. But I know it can be kind of challenging for both of us.
Yeah, it gets stressful.
It
It gets
does.
definitely stressful depending upon the situation and the people you're working with. Some bosses, writers, executive producers, directors, super cool about, making changes, and some of them are real jerks. And you gotta be able to go, bite your tongue and keep going, and then make
Yeah,
a
it's
call.
true.
Yeah,
You do have to understand like a lot of let's say like the writers or producers on different shows vary. So you definitely have to quickly understand how they like to work. Some of them like to throw things at you late at night to be shot the next morning. And some of them are, like you said, really good to collaborate with where they understand the process and will not do something like that to you. But like again, you have to be able to adjust to those people who are very spontaneous with their ideas.
right. And that's a skill set you develop. I don't know if you can really have it until you get into the position where you're under the gun and you're working with somebody. But you have to be able, because the basic mantra of all prop people is never say no.
Yeah,
Never
never
say
seen.
no, right?
Yeah.
So if they ask for something that's insane, and you know, and you know in your head, you're like going like,
How
I
am I
cannot
gonna
do
do
that
that?
in one day. I cannot have that for tomorrow. There's just no way. There's no that doesn't exist in the real world. A,
Mhm.
B. Timo will not deliver it until for 4 weeks, and of course, the tariff's going to make it $8,000 next month. But see, so you have to figure out how to work with that idea, whatever it is. Usually, it's from a writer, and those guys make stuff up all the time. And so you have to be able to go like, okay, I'm going to try to give you the point of what you're doing. I know
Yeah.
you want this rocking horse for a man to sit on, strong enough that then breaks, but not right away, and all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is try to get something like that. And as long as you keep them, they kind of want to just see you working. They want to know that you're trying. They want to know that you didn't just go, it can't be done and walk away. Because then you're like,
Yeah,
ooh,
yeah, yeah.
you got to find another prop guy. This guy's bored. This guy's not even trying.
Yeah.
So as long as you're putting in the work, you don't lie to him and say easy, I'm going to do it, and then show
Mhm.
up with something that's terrible. Go, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to have an option for you. I think I know what you're going for, but I just want you to know I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this yet, but I'm going to try my hardest for you. And that's a hard personality technique, like to keep in your soul when in the back of your head you're going, I hate you so much. That's such a bad idea. And you can't project that at them. And it's
No.
just part of the staying in the game is being able
Yeah.
to have that, you know, cooperative personality,
Yeah.
at least up front.
No, and it goes back to that point that you said earlier about negotiating. If they come to you with the almost impossible prop, you as an experienced prop master are able to start letting them understand that it might not arrive in time. Here's alternatives. like, do you guys really, when does it shoot, first of all?
Yeah.
And also just to be able to show them that, like you said, I'm gonna try my best to give you what you're asking for, but understand that it might, you just gave it to me right now and it shoots tomorrow.
Right, right, right. And when you get, you know, it's hard when you start out because you don't have the experience to know all the different avenues you have to reach out because
Yeah,
you need a wide array of support in the business. I mean, throughout town. And that's one thing. If, when you start off and you're being told to do all these different things,
yeah,
you got to start paying attention as to which prop houses are local to this job. What's in those prop houses? You know, if you have sent to the prop house to pick something up as an
yeah,
assistant, hang out there for a little bit, talk to some people, see what they got, so that as you move up, you're going to know, oh, I know where that is. I saw that, you know, last year I was working on a show and I saw it at Hand Proper. So I
yeah,
know it's there. Or, you know where the graphics guy is and know, where on the lot they are and which, and so you start picking up all these vendors, that you start
right.
going like, this is where we can rent a scooter. And this place is, so you start getting all these vendors, you got to kind of list, and those are all people who are helping you, your support staff, even though they're not working for you.
Hmm.
They want movie money. Everyone in town wants a little movie and TV money.
Yeah,
So you build those relationships as well. And those relationships are almost more important than the relationships you make on each show. Because the show lasts as long as it lasts. And then you have to go to the next show. So
yeah,
all the relationships you made with these vendors, you keep those phone numbers and those contacts and those emails. And so when you go to the next show, you call your guy. And that's another thing that's fun to do is as you move up, you go, somebody will say, blah, blah, blah. And you go, I've got a guy. I got a saddle guy. He makes
yeah,
saddles. I can get you whatever you want. You're like, a saddle guy? I got it. Got a guy. It's fun to do that. And it's fun to have a guy that gets the thing, you very specialty stuff. And people love that stuff. You've got a guy that shows up. But a mechanical bull guy last show. Remember that guy? That was crazy.
I know.
No, no, that's right. You
I
weren't there. That's right.
No, I
You
was
were.
not there for that one, but I
Yeah.
do understand exactly what you said about having your support because part of my job is to make the design work, but also I have to make the order and make sure it arrives in time. So that was one of the things I made sure to figure out early on was what can the each design shop provide for us
Yeah.
and know where exactly to go and not have to figure that out when we're in a crunch. Like you should already know exactly where to go to.
Right, right. And when you're young and you don't know, it's fine.
Yeah,
Ask people,
ask around.
because you need a network of other friends in your business, other prop people.
Yeah,
So stay in touch with everybody. And then once, when you're young, you're not going to know everything. And things are going to come up that are, you know, somebody else will go, oh yeah, of course you go, here and there's a sports shop over there and they rent all that stuff. And you're like, where is that place? And he goes, oh, it's over there. And they get the info. Now you get that, you keep asking questions and finding, somebody to help you out, an ally, if you will. And,
yeah,
and then they send you off and then you picked up a new vendor and you picked up a new helper, a new support person. And the more of those you have, the less hard you have to work because that's a lot of the work is find sourcing, right?
yeah,
So sourcing is for a while there, Amazon was a fun source, and you could just go to Amazon first thing, buy all the things you want, and they show up in 2 days. And you're like, did it, or a day even. And now, not quite as reliable.
yeah.
And people,
People
I would say that
got
if you
used
go
to
on,
that.
what's that?
People, I think, got used to that to be able to have things like next day. So when
Right.
they ask you for a requirement or some kind of
Yeah.
prop, they think, oh, well, he could just get it on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Or else they'll show you, they'll email you. This is what will happen a lot now because everyone who writes and everyone produces and directs, they say, you know what? What would be cool here? And they would go, what if we had whatever those click clack balls, on the desk? We've got to have 1,000 of those around. And you go, they look, they go online, they go, oh, it's right there. It's Amazon. It's right there. And
Yeah,
uh, and then you go like, no, 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 no. The Amazon that one says we'll ship directly in 3 days. So it's not even ship for 3 days. You can't just send me a picture and say I saw it online, so
yeah,
have it here tomorrow. You go, I can't, that doesn't work like that. It's not as, even if you think it's simple, it's little, I'm literally talking about these click clack balls because you used to see those all the time.
Yeah.
And somebody needed one last year and they go, oh, click clack, another George Lopez gem. I want the click clack balls. We're like, why? Why? It doesn't even make any sense, but he wanted them. So I'm like, okay, click clack balls, super easy. Rental houses, nobody had them. No, the prop shops had them. And I'm like, wait. And then no, I went to like the office supply stores. They don't carry that stuff anymore. And I'm like, going, what's going on? And it took me 2 days of driving, and a Target had one, but not in every store. It was online, said it was in the store. You drive there, it's not there. You go to the next store. Next thing you know, I'm way out there. Like, I don't know where I was in Valencia buying click clack balls at a Target at 8:30 at night. Because and so you see, there's, that's the game that you play. You never know what's going to be your nightmare. So like you said, you knock off the easy stuff fast,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because you get that off your plate, because there's going to be a crazy thing that shows up, and
Always.
you got to keep a little piece of time. If you have to lie to the producer and go like, oh yeah, I can't be here from 4 to 6 because I have a doctor's appointment. You made me say that just because you need that 2 hours, because you know you're gonna have to solve a problem and you don't want anyone talking to you.
And
So
I think that brought up something that you said earlier too, like the click clack balls. You also cannot get upset if you bring it and you hand it to them and they're like, "Oh, you know what? Never mind. That was a bad idea. You
yeah,
were right."
or worse than that, they look at it and go like, this isn't the one I had on the when like George would do this. God, pain in the ass. He goes, oh, when I was on my first show, the other one was brown. The one I was thinking of. I'm like, that was 25 years ago. How do we? I didn't see. Look, you got it. It doesn't. It's not going to be brown. And you go, oh, George, that's a great idea. Let me go double check. This will just be a placeholder. And then,
Well, we met almost, I think, 10 years ago on like Fuller House
yeah,
for Netflix. So, how do you compare a show like Lopez versus Lopez to a kids show like Fuller House?
yeah. You got to. Luckily, I've done a couple of both kinds of things. You've got your kids show. It's going to be more gaggy.
Yeah.
So, and you watch all those Nickelodeon shows. I've done enough of them that you go, okay, we're in for some food fights, and things are going to fall out of cabinets, and the kid's going to go whizzing by on some kind of mechanized scooter and all that. Good news is, if you're on one of those shows, they usually have a full-time special effects guy. Now
Yeah.
that's great because that's kind of a props and special effects hand in hand, right? So you usually have a supervisor that you have to work with, and you go, like, if you can do this, I can build that. If you are going to pull a thing, and he'll go, no, what I want you to do is put this thing. If you can give me the prop that has a hook on it, and then I can put the thing on there, and so you negotiate that stuff. So it's always at a special effects scenario, which means you get 4, 5, 6 of everything because they're all going to be broken, and then
Right.
you've got to work with kids, and if you've got kids, that means you've got parents or supervisor, whatever, stage moms as they
Right.
quote unquote. And that's a difficult negotiation personality wise because you can't really you've got to ask the parent kind of what the kid can handle or
Yeah.
will be comfortable with. And
Yeah.
then there's a teacher usually who supervises the kid. So you have to check things with the teacher before you give it to a kid and see if it's safe and see if it works. So you've got more people to negotiate with. But usually as a kids show like Fuller House, the showrunners were wonderful. The guys running
Yeah.
the show, super nice guys. They were super nice. And the actors, the adult actors, all very fun. So, well, some are more fun than others. But
Right.
still, it was like if that atmosphere exists and you've got a director that's nice, and
Yeah.
you've got a first AD, which is the kind of manager of the whole stage, first AD that's understanding, and that all of a sudden no one's you know stressing as much.
Yeah.
You got the show like Lopez and or Dr. Ken, top down stress every day. The showrunner asks for stuff at the last minute, and then the main actors being cranky and getting people all nervous and scared. The first AD is running around in circles, all panicked, and it makes a whole day miserable because everyone's so afraid of something going wrong that even if you do something perfectly,
Yeah.
they're going to go, I don't know if they're going to like it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know that's, and then all of a sudden that tension goes into your staff, into your
Yeah.
people, into you, into the other departments, and everyone's a little bit more unnecessarily intense. Whereas at Fuller
Right.
House, everybody was chill. These are the things we're going to do. Can you do this? Oh, we'll give that a shot. It was, and so your whole soul becomes just a little bit more reasonable. And then it becomes what it should be, which is a, a crew that kind of hangs together. It's the same crew year after year. You learn about people's, spouses and kids and parents, and they come and after a show, they'll bring different relatives to shows. You get to know people's personalities. And then the more you know your fellow crew person, like in a more familiar sense, HR would hate what I'm going to tell you, but I guarantee you, you should go to parties at somebody's place afterwards and meet different people in the crew or go hang out with their friends. Because the more you have social connections with those people outside of the show,
Uh-huh.
when you're in the show, you're going to be more likely to get help from them or be able to talk to them the right way so that they'll help you or whatever, or you can, or you'll be happier to share stuff with them, and then that makes the whole machine smooth, right?
Yeah.
So there's the outside stuff, and also there's something I learned early on that I failed to understand until I was years in the business, is that when you first start, it's hard to get jobs because
Yeah.
you don't know people and they don't know you, and that's a big part of it.
Right.
You know you're great, people you don't meet just go, I don't know who that is. And so it's harder to get work. So you
Yeah.
need to network. And networking is dumb, especially if it's with people you don't like. So I used to just go, I don't like those guys. They're going, oh, they're having a big party. And I'm like, yeah, but that guy's such a jerk. Why would I go to his party? I'm like, what? You go to meet other people who are also
Yeah.
going to network. And then you need connections. You need people to know your name. They need people to
Mhm.
know what you are trying to do.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of trying to do, I was not trying to do props. I was trying to write, but I didn't know how to connect. I didn't network. I didn't
Yeah.
think that was important. And it was super important because I go, I'm great at writing. And people are going like, I don't even know who you are. So you get nothing. So I got into props because it was, had the skill set for it, kind of worked out great for me and I ended up doing it. But I think everyone, I would say more than half the people in the business working in the crew behind the scenes
Yeah.
had a goal of doing something else. And this was kind of biding their time so they could get their chance and make
Yeah.
a connection that would let them, like I know you've got your comic book thing back there, Valero, right?
Yeah. There it is right there.
See? So you got that. That's the main, that would be like if you could do that your whole life, right? You do that.
Yeah. That's my dream gig
Right. But
too.
till you get what you kind of want to get at, everyone in this business is trying to do something. Someone's in a band, a lot of them are in bands, a couple of them are trying to be actors on the side.
Yeah.
A couple of them do stand-up comedy at nights. And some of them want to write, go up and do some more writing. They're doing their own writing, all that stuff. And so it's you if you play the game properly, if you are very it's got to be, I would say it's you've got to have more ambition than you might be comfortable with. You've got to really tell people you're great at something that you're not great at
Yeah.
yet, because you're not going to be great at something until you get an opportunity to fail a few times, and then and then become great at it. Be it
Yeah.
writing, uh, acting, comic books. I don't even know what I wanted to be great at after a while. But look, I was on True Jackson as a prop master, and got along
Right.
with those guys. And there, I did some in rehearsal. I did a stunt fall or whatever, and they go, "That's it. You're playing the principal from now on." I'm like, "What?" They go,
That's
"We're not going
great.
to give you very many lines. You're terrible, but we're going to put you in the show." Super fun. I got to, you get to be
Yeah. I
Principal
remember
Ruckman on that
seeing
show.
that.
I didn't go into acting, but like you get all these opportunities, and that's the goal, is to be involved in the process,
Yeah.
and then people go like, "Hey, see that guy right there? That's me," or whatever is your jam.
Oh, I
You don't
agree.
think
Just to add to what you were saying, I mean, I was lucky enough to have Fuller House be my first sitcom show to work on. And
yeah,
like you said, the atmosphere there was all about camaraderie and helping each other out. And I learned a lot of tricks just collaborating with you. And also that atmosphere also allowed us to be a little bit more free and excited about what we contribute. I mean, like you said, we even hung out like outside of work. We went to the gym together. We were doing
yeah,
the crazy hikes, I remember.
yeah,
And all that kind of like made us build this connection where like even when I was not on a show with you, I would still be able to call you like, "Hey Jim, where can I get these brochures made or something like that?"
yeah,
So yeah, I definitely do see what you're talking about as far as like being able to contribute and also get along with everybody around you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's it. That's just a basic vibe of how to work on a show,
Mhm.
specifically to props. If you want to go finish off the week, if you want to go through the
Yeah,
process,
let's wrap it.
we're still we're going from we went to day two. There was another rewrite, so then I would go out, be shopping. My people on set would be working with that stuff. I'd have assignments to somebody. Come back, they do a rehearsal, and then you get to stand there and watch all your stuff move around and see how everything works with it's all still kind of not quite sets. It's a rehearsal day, so the writers come down and a couple people, and they'll watch the whole thing go, and you go like, okay, that works pretty good. That looked like it didn't work great. And you then have a confab, and usually the director will come and say, "That didn't work." I go, "Yeah, I saw it didn't work." He goes, we can change." I go, "I got an idea." And then you work with your team, you come up with some ideas, you work on those all night, you go to sleep, and then you wake up and there's another script, and you're like, "So, oh, another script." And usually they change less and less as you go,
Yeah.
which is a nice show if they change less and less. There are shows where it changes crazy every day, and those are the shows you're usually on the phone at the end of the day going like, "Hey man, do you know where I can get another job here?" Because it's true. And those really hard ones are good for you if you're young, because
Hmm.
it's a baptism of fire, as they say, because you have to learn all the tricks of how to get stuff fast, where to go,
Yeah.
running around, how to deal with a crazy boss, how to deal with wild actors, and it's unpleasant, but it's a requirement. But the next every day ends at some point. You do your as long as you like give them something,
Yeah.
give them something. Whatever they change it to, give them something. And if you're in over your head, you're going to give them the wrong thing. You're not going to have the right thing, and they're going to go, "What?" Now, if you're trying to stay, if you're just this literally in over your head, you're not figuring out what they need. And if you're just, treading water, that's what your goal is. Just getting them something that kind of works at the last minute and then keep going and just keep doing that. And that's a tough show.
Yeah.
Easy show, they're going like, oh, and instead of an orange, I want them to eat an apple. You're like, bingo, what a great idea. You go get apples. It's something, so
Every
this is
color apple.
right, every whole apple. So then you start getting into the shooting day, which is going to be on a Thursday.
Mhm.
Now you've got that night before, you have to do a lot of prep because you're shooting these certain scenes and you need these props for each moment and each character. And you work with your team and you make sure you have the right props and the right number of props. Because as they say in the prop business, if you have one, you have none.
Right.
Because if you have one thing and they shoot it and then it breaks, and they go, "We got to shoot that 5 more times. Where you got another one?" You go, "That's the only one they had in the store." And they're like, "But we already shot it. It's got to match the thing. What do props? You always have two or three of those, right?" And you should always have two or three of those,
Two or three.
especially, unless it's in some specialty piece that's super hard. But so you've got everything set up the night before. You come in the next morning. Usually there's a little rewrite, and then you try to run around the last minute. I call Hugo. I go, "I need a graphic," and then
Yep.
you tell them, and then you got to go inform the stage. You got to liaise between your vendors and then the director and the first aid. Go like, "Look, this is coming in 20 minutes, so can you do something before it gets here, and then I can rig it up?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we'll push that to the side." So you negotiate, some time give, and it's always a time crunch. But this is where you're trying to get your polished product out there. You may
Yeah.
have had like a stand-in thing for somebody, right? If they had a rocking horse, you had a rocking horse, but it was obviously not the right one. So you have been polishing up the good rocking horse, cleaning it up and painting and doing the trim on it and all that. And then you're getting the second and third one set up at the same time. So when the day comes, you've got everything mapped out for your day, and
Yeah.
your assistants have everything laid out on carts and ready to go for each scenes. And you get your food coming at a certain time, and everyone knows where you're real ready. You're ready for shoot day, even if you have to go get something at lunch because you know you need it for later. And so you go through the day. You and your team just monitor the set constantly while they're shooting. You're trying to cycle out food, refresh drinks, making sure levels on glasses are right, make sure that everything's set properly for the actors to grab where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
On set, person's taking photos with their iPad, keeping continuity, right? Because then the next day you got to shoot it again, and everything's got to be in the same place. So you got a
In place.
continuity photos going, and you've got your assistant going back and washing stuff. The other one, you're going between that, and going out to pick up stuff, and then come back, and then at the end of the day, you crack a cold one and sit with the crew. Go like, you're feeling like, well, I think we did it, guys. I think we did it. We really did it. And then you get a call. They'll go like, yeah, the office wants to reshoot that whole thing with the hobby horse, and can it be a hobby donkey tomorrow? They just want to try. They just want to try it out. I'm like, wait, so the horse? What's the difference between a horse and a donkey? They go, I don't know, donkey. It may look more like a donkey. Click. And you're like, son of a. And then the next day you got to shoot the show. So you go, you put a donkey sticker on there or something, and you go like, you want that? And then they'll go, no, but I make it a horse again. And you set up for the whole show. And now, specific to sitcoms, because
Yeah.
if you have ever filmed before a live studio audience, that's a sitcom world, right?
Yeah.
Audience is in there, they're laughing. Sometimes they juice up the laugh a little bit in post because they're not getting laughs. But and then well, there's inside baseball. And then sometimes they pay people to laugh in the audience. It's kind of gross if you think about it, but it works.
It
Works pretty good.
works for
Yeah,
timing.
yeah, it works pretty good. So they know good to laugh, and then they start laughing, and people next one go like, "Oh, that was pretty. Yeah, that was funny. I guess I don't know." But so they set up the audience comes in, everybody goes back for the dresses and makeup and hair, and it's all set to go, and all your props are arranged secretly throughout the set, or little carts, so that you're ready to go in and out without disturbing the flow of the show. Now it becomes kind of like a theater,
Hmm.
right? Everything's already preset for everybody. Everything's kind of moved around from set to set. And as you go, you move your props, and everyone moves the cameras, and the audience is up there laughing, having fun, and you're just banging through, and they're shooting stuff, and the writers are sitting there rewriting. And once in a while, even while you're shooting the show in the middle of some idiot named Dan, I think we all know who Dan is, Dan Singer. He'll go, I thought that was I thought we were gonna do the donkey thing again. And I go, no, Debbie said we're not doing the donkey thing. I'd just like to see the donkey thing once real quick. I go, the audience right here, it's gonna take me 20 minutes. He'll go, well, I mean, we can wait 20 minutes. I'm like, and so you run off and you make it, and then there we go. And they go like, why is it a donkey? I go, it's Dan's idea. And they're like, nah, we'll keep moving. And then you keep moving, you scramble, you throw that in a garbage can, you go to the next scene. And then the next thing you know, 4 hours later, it's all over. And the audience comes out, and it's like, woo, that was a hell of a thing. And then okay,
And that's just one episode.
yeah. So you got to make you get 3 weeks in a row of that, and they give you a week off.
Yeah.
And you actually live life for a week, and then back at the grind. And that's a sitcom pace. Now, if you
Hmm.
get into like my wife's watching The Pit. It's a net. It's
Yeah,
like
me too.
yeah, it's a hospital thing. It's like ER used to be,
Yeah.
and that's a single camera, right?
Yeah.
And that's a whole different vibe, uh, work process wise.
Yeah.
Like on that, you're moving. There's a bigger amount of things. You look at those scenes. It's not like a sitcom. There's patients in the back and background people in the back and people who have no lines that keep walking around, and all the machines are moving in and out. And so there's a lot going on. So you've got like extra crew working on props, like moving all that stuff in and out.
Yeah. So for a show like that, can you just give a quick list of the items that you would probably fabricate for the background? Because I mean, for example, I could already imagine like all the badges that we would have to do
Oh
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, for like the pit, you've got so this is like so this generally a hospital show,
General,
right?
yeah,
So
hospital.
first of all, you already have gone. There are special prop houses that mostly do doctor stuff. There's a
Yeah.
it's a um and so you'll rent before the show starts, you'll rent gurneys and you're gonna get all the blankets and stuff as props and all the IV poles and IV things and all the tubes and all the tapes, all the bandages, the nurses' ID badges, every clipboard's got paperwork on its props, is all the different paperwork on all the desks, sometimes set dressing, but if it's gonna be seen, props, you've got to have the logo of the hospital. You've
Yeah.
got to have so you've got all the paperwork there. You've got all the clipboards, the beeping stuff inside the room, all the scalpels, the papers, and everything, all props. You got to have all the gloves for the people. You got to have everything the doctor would have on him, and the pens in his pockets. Everything that every doctor carries around, all wheelchairs. Everyone who comes in with a wound, whatever they're wounded with, if they've got a chainsaw stuck in them, you're the chainsaw guy. And
Yeah.
then yeah, and so I know the guy does the props on that show, and he said it's crazy how much the effects guy does too, because all the things that happen, like the blood spurting out or whatever,
Yeah.
there's a guy under the table squirting blood
Right.
coming out this wound. But then the props you bring the blood, and you've got to make thin blood and thick blood, and there's dried blood and there's fake blood, and so it's all sorts of different stuff. The
Yeah.
guys it's the guy in the pit, my buddy who does effects on there. He goes at some point in the scene somebody pees on somebody else.
Yeah.
That's part of the hospital nightmare, right?
I'm the
And he goes, it
nurse.
wasn't working right. And so the guy apparently I don't know if it was the director or the actor just said, "Why don't you have the guy pee on me?" And he's like, "I'll do it." So on camera, he's peeing like off camera. He's peeing on the actor. That's the effect because the regular effect wasn't working. It didn't look like pee because it
Yeah.
doesn't. It's a hard to. It doesn't look right. So he's
You're
like,
right.
"Yeah, you on a guy yesterday." I'm like, "What?" Like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Wow." So those are. So you got all that going on, and you watch that. You watch one episode of that, and you see all the stuff that happens. The people die, the pills people take in, and everything. That's all the coffees they're drinking, everything. There's so many props. You've got to
Yeah.
have a couple of teams. Like you've got a couple of designated on-set people that are going to have to be great, and then they each have to have a support person, and you've got to be shopping 3 days ahead of time because there's
Mm.
you know every day on a thing like the pit or a hospital show, you shoot every day and it's block and shoot. There's no audience or anything, right? So the crew's
Right.
all here, right? And they're shooting all the stuff over there. And then when they come in, they move the cameras here and they shoot over here and they move the cameras here and they shoot over here and then they travel with the guys here and they go down this fake hallway to another thing. And so in one day, what did they shoot? Like 10 pages? No, they can't shoot 10 pages. Like 6, 7 pages maybe.
Hmm.
They shoot a show like that in 6 to 8 days, right?
Right. And then also, like you said, that prop master better be very savvy with all hospital props because you cannot not know what they're if they ask
Yeah,
for something.
you can't just guess. I mean, you can guess, but sometimes you have to kind of fake it. But
Hmm.
in a show like that, it's got to be more realistic. They got to be pretty on. Usually they'll have like a consultant too.
Yeah, that's
If you're
true.
on a big show like that, there's a hospital consultant, and there's
Mhm.
usually some technician or ER or a former nurse or a present nurse,
Yeah.
an ER nurse who's there, and they're in the first meeting going like, this has got to look like this. Make sure the tube has the hook on it. Make sure you use one of these clamps because that's what they would use, and all this stuff. And so very technical, and it's a lot more focused, research, serious. You got a little bit more, uh, I don't know what's the
What
word
is
I'm
it,
trying to think
Jim?
of. Huh? Not me. What it is. It's not me.
Yeah.
Right? See, I am kind of like a sitcom guy. Fun stuff, something that's funny, things that go boom, and it's not that serious that everything looks like super realistic, and that's nobody wants realistic in sitcom. Hotel or a hospital thing, very important that everything is just right and everything's got a batch and everything's got to be the right kind of saline bag. It can't be the wrong
Right.
kind of saline bag. And so that's a different mindset for a different prop master. It would not be me. And so you can work on a show, let's say when you're if you're starting out, and you're gonna go like, I don't think this is for me. I don't care about, whatever. I'm not a gun person. I don't want to do this Western stuff anymore, whatever cop shows. It's
Yeah.
okay. There's going to be another show. There's going to be the food show. You want to work on the bear or whatever. Now that's a
Yeah.
whole different. It's a different. You're still doing props, but it's a different style. Or you hate food shows, so then you go and do sitcoms, and then you're like, oh, this is my thing. So there's different types of props for every show in the business. There's
Yeah.
different styles that are kind of clicky, if you will. Like you'll get with your group and you'll always meet these same people on every other show because they're all doing the same kind of thing.
Right.
Now, right? And so that's kind of like something to remember is that when you're first starting out, you're trying to figure out if this is working, if it's right for you, if
Right.
you like it, if you're fitting in, if you're any good at it. And once there's going to be a moment where you're working on a show and you find your people, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
like going, oh, these sci-fi people get me. I know I like these guys or gals or whatever they are. And you're like, well, this is my crew. I like working with these people. They're fun to do. All of a sudden you've got a crew or a group that you like hanging with. And now you'll find yourself working, you'll help them get jobs, they'll help you get jobs, they'll recommend you, you'll recommend them. And then all of a sudden you have like this little, you can call it a clique, a little work friend group or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And you'll find that once you find your group and you all start working together and you know how to work together, you get hired as a group usually. You'll have a boss that you all work
Right.
for, and that boss will go, whenever I work, you work. You're like,
True.
oh, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Now, sometimes,
and
go
that happens organically as far as like by working together and for example, everybody has their own role and it's meant so that it can go as easy as possible for everybody and to be able to like be able to contribute and bring everything that is needed from that department, for example, props and or art department. But yeah, you definitely know who you click with right away and who you feel comfortable working with on a regular basis.
Yeah, but the thing is, starting out, you don't get to pick that person right away.
Oh,
You can't say, I like working with this gal. She's the greatest. And
yeah.
she could go like, yeah, fine. I got people to work with me. I got other people. And
Yeah.
then you can't pick them. It has, like you said, organically, it has to happen. And so you've got to be able to knuckle down and go, okay, this is not the perfect place for me, but I got to finish the job because
Yeah.
that's a key part of it's a small enough town that you get a reputation. If you're someone who quits all the time and gets the next job and gets the next job and quits and leaves, people are going to go like, I mean, you could hire him, but I mean, third, fourth week, he's going to bail because I think he's got his eye on some feature film. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's the guy who bails for features. Like, yeah, that's that guy. And then all of a sudden, everyone knows it, and then you're gone. So you're it's annoying and kind of helpful and impressive how you are perceived. Your reputation is pretty important.
Yeah.
That you want to be the guy who drinks at lunch. You know, because one group you hang out with might always drink at lunch, and then everyone knows, but everyone else on the stage is going to go, yeah, those are the guys who go drink at lunch, and then everyone's going to go, oh, that's what it is, and then all of a sudden you've got that's you. You're the guy who drinks at lunch.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and it goes both ways too, as far as being a small world, because or a small, for example, with the sitcom world, I've been able to collaborate with multiple, for example, prop masters, but that also helps me out with having experience with those guys for when they get a new show. I'm able to, like you said, give them a call. Hey, I'm available if you need me. I'm sure they probably have a graphics person, but I just need to make sure that I put myself out there as much as I can as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to sell yourself sometimes, especially at first. When honestly, when you're selling yourself at first, you've got to do a little bit of lying because you don't know exactly. You don't know what you don't know when you're early on, right? So
Yeah.
you might think you're pretty good at something, and just it doesn't matter that you are not. It matters that you are going to try to be.
Right.
You're gonna say, look, I'm great. I love props. I'm gonna do great props. I'll be great at props. I love it. I love it so much. And then they're gonna hire you, and you're gonna screw up a little bit. And they're like, I thought you've done this before. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Whatever. Let me know if you could give me a hand. I'm using anything I learned from you. You're the best boss. You gotta kind of bullshit your way through the first 5 years of your career. Really, really do got to kind of. And that hard part of that is selling yourself when you're unsure of yourself, and that's the
Yeah,
part.
and be willing to go above and beyond for like certain tasks. I mean, when I started out, I didn't really have master skills of, let's say, Photoshop and Illustrator, but I wanted to get that job. So I took it regardless, and then I learned everything I had to over that weekend, for example. But yeah, you definitely don't want to sell yourself short, and you have to trust yourself to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those It's hard to have self confidence, but you've got to have. You got. Let me say, I read was that in order to succeed in this world, you have to imagine yourself better than you are. So it's good. You've got to see. I'm not great at this yet.
Yeah,
Never. I'm not great at this. I'll never be good at it. It's just like no, it's not yet. That's all. So, but you're aspired to do it, and
yeah.
you'll get better. So.
It's not one day, it's day one. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't heard that one before. That's a good one.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate this chat. We covered a lot. We covered from multicams to single camera. And yeah, it's really fun to talk about the work that we've done in the past too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think everyone out there can do it. Literally there is no magic skill that you or I had first
Mhm.
day on the job, like you said. No magic skill at all. We didn't go special training or anything. Just wanted to do it. Got in there. You
Give it
know,
your all.
stayed working at it, knowing that you can do it. It's just you get in there, and then see if you want to keep doing it because it's not for everybody. It's a pace. And
Yeah,
if you're not comfortable with the pace or it's annoying, the personality might not be for you, but you don't know until you try it.
gotta
And then
try it.
you can figure it out. It's not, it's a puzzle, but it's not an unsolvable puzzle.
Yeah, and also not to be afraid to be able to pivot into a different department. I mean, I same way. I was looking to get into a different department when I started out, but then I found my people, which just happened to be in the art department, and that's what I stuck with uh till now, and just kind of understand that things change all the time, and you don't
Yeah.
have the answers.
No one else does either. They're all faking it just like you are. All right, buddy.
All right, Jim.
Well, good times. Later.
Bye.
Bye.